The Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast, and here is your host, Elliot J. O'Neill.
And now do that in your microphone, John.
You don't have the same sort of range that I have.
And the microphones are working, and we are live. Welcome to episode 10 of The Simpsons Index. I am your host, Elliot J. O'Neill, and joining me tonight is...
Shayna.
And...
Jordan.
Guys, great to come around again, and thank you, oh my god, for delicious beef ribs, Shayna.
Oh, you're welcome.
So delicious. We just watched Season 7, Episode 4, titled Bart Sells His Soul. Guys, what'd you think?
Oh my
Love
God.
it.
This was my choice because
Yep.
this is my favorite episode of The Simpsons. I'm pretty sure. Like, there's some top contenders, but I think this has always been my go-to for like just favorite ever episode. Like, it's just so many quotable lines. It's actual really good humor. It's got like I don't know. It's my top episode.
Absolutely, and just on the morals, I was just really thinking, I love that at the end, how Lisa says the thing about, a soul isn't just, you don't just have one, it must be earned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think, Shayna?
I love it. There's actually a scene in this that is probably like my favorite ever scene in any of The Simpsons because it perfectly encaptures what your imagination is really like as a child, and that is when Bart soaks the dinosaur sponge. Because you remember when you're little and you see those things and you're like, oh, that's totally what it's going to show up like. And every time I watch this episode and I see that scene, I'm like, oh, that's exactly your imagination as a kid.
Absolutely.
And they just captured it so perfectly. I love it.
And with the dream sequence as well, that was so the imagination of a child, what you'd think the soul would be and what you'd do with it. And
and the importance of your peer group as well. Like, he gets left out, so it's a little bit of that as well.
Absolutely.
What did you think?
I really, really love this episode. Of course we'll get back to it in the rankings. I'm finding it hard to fault it. Well, anyway, may as well do a brief synopsis of the episode. So basically, Bart sells his soul to Milhouse, and he notices that life's a lot weirder without this soul. And even though his soul was just written on a bit of paper, Bart Simpson's soul, he found that he really lost something. And, the journey follows him trying to get it back. And also there's a B storyline of Mo changing the tavern to be a family-friendly restaurant and its inevitable failure. And just on the story as well, they didn't really have anything to do with each other, but they did come together at one point where the family Simpson were having dinner there, and Bart runs off and leaves his spaghetti and Mo balls.
Run, boy, run!
Run for your life. But so jammed-packed, filled with some of my favourite things. Just starting at the start in the Inagata Davida bit. You may have to know the song to get the joke.
Yeah. Wait a minute, this sounds like rock and or roll.
That's something you quote all the something you quote all the time. Or hey Marge, remember when we used to make out to this hymn? So good.
The best line as a non-believer is, why would they lie to us, Bart? What do they have to gain?
Cut to Reverend Lovejoy, just coins.
Just shoveling it into the change sorter.
So true.
I wish I could remember the entirety of the speech that he makes the kids say at the start. Eat not but burning hot coals, and drink not but burning hot cola.
Your soul be torn to pieces and strewn on a parade of unwed mothers and murderers.
Single mothers.
Mothers and murderers.
But the other thing that I really liked, not that I hadn't... what I'm really loving about doing this podcast is that you're rewatching The Simpsons in a different light. You're not just and I think I said it in the last time that we did this with you, is that you're not just lying on the couch hungover or wasting time. I'm actually watching it and paying attention. And that was when Milhouse goes, Bart, it was that Bart. That Bart did it. And then Reverend Lovejoy goes, come with me, you too, snitchy. And that's totally what teachers fucking do. It's not just telling off the kid who did the wrong thing. They also take you as well when you're trying to do the right thing. And that's just, like, I love that the Simpsons writers back then used to really capture real life, like things that really happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess you don't see much with the church these days because not as many people go to church and have youth clubs and stuff like that anymore. But
well, not any of the people.
No,
we
not
know.
that I ever. Not that I ever did any of that shit anyway.
Yeah.
But and the Uncle Mo stuff, like, it starts out a little like stupid, but like it really like is just has so much good material in it. Like, and again, starting where it starts, Carl just going, "Oh, you're not going to get rid of the dank Mo."
the dank Mo. Come on. So good. The this is one where the kind of the B story doesn't detract, I think, from the from the kind of the main story as well, because it is kind of heavily Bart centric, I guess. But yeah, the B story, because it can kind of it's just all the little things, like the like, you know, we serve home fried cooked the old fashioned way, and just get like the whole tray, just put it in the deep fryer, and they're like eating the glass. Like, it's just like the little touches like that, and it was just like
and when he gets the deep fryer as well, whole buffalo in under a minute or whatever it was.
40 seconds, but I want it now.
It's also what I really like is you don't get a lot of, well, actually no, you do. I think when I was growing up, I can't remember what I did and did not say in the last episode. So to our 100 unique listeners, I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. But my dad was always like, no, he tried to say I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons, but I saw him once a fortnight because it was bad role models for children, bad family values. But actually, when you watch The Simpsons, it's actually a family unit that really works in the old episodes, at least.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think an episode like this actually shows, you know, the brothers and sisters and siblings, they do fight, but they also love each other, and they do things for each other to show that love. And Marge, when she's hugging him, she's like, it's not fear of nuclear war, like whatever.
It's not swim test anxiety.
But it's true, because mothers, I'm not that I'm a mother, but I'm a mother to a dog, and I can tell what he's upset about at any given moment, and it shows that those small family connections that are so important. So it's like kind of the soppy side in humor, but it's actually showing real family dynamics as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially with Lisa coming to his aid and like just at the start being so shocked that he'd do something like sell his soul for $5. Like, and then
although that again, another thing that we quote all the time. Where'd you get $5? I want $5.
Oh,
it's like another thing. Every time I'll handle a $5 note. It's what I say.
God, The Simpsons really just runs our life.
Mm.
I don't know if I've ever had a conversation with our group of friends where I haven't quoted The Simpsons at one point.
At least once.
At least once.
Like, we definitely didn't get through it in Dungeons and Dragons the other day without Simpsons quote.
When I was watching it, like towards the end, because it's kind of like at the end it does get a little bit serious. And it's kind of like it's very sweet, like the kind of the moment they share and everything, and he's talking about and he's like stuffing the soul back into his mouth and everything. But it ends on like a very kind of like nice, like like cuddly moment,
warm,
as
fuzzy.
well, which is kind of usually, because it's usually like either ends on a like a banger or whimper, I guess. With The Simpsons, this was a very kind of just a touching moment, as opposed to like a joke.
Yeah, the heart was definitely there. Whereas, the B storyline was more there for just joke material. Watching Mo be a fish out of water and getting agitated with customers. And, really setting up his own doom by having a skit where every time kids order fries, he has to come out with it.
Please take the basket off my head. It's extremely hard. The $1 million bet. I wonder if the $1 million. I really want to try $1 million birthday fries. Like, I reckon they'd be really
we're
good.
soon going to find out. I'm sure we'll find, because that kind of restaurant's so typical across the United States.
I was about to
everywhere.
Say, we went to a couple. I remember we were in the US a couple of years ago, and we kind of had a couple of restaurants like that. But again, quotes like, an alligator with sunglasses on the wall? Now I've seen everything. Like, it's
I
just
love how
again,
delighted Marge is with it. Like,
road signs on the wall?
Yeah.
Whatever. So good.
What's the Moe's Hobo Jerk Chicken?
Oh, the
we start with the best bit,
the neck.
And then add secret hobo spices. It's just perfect.
Oh, it's great.
Just to add to that, chicken neck is the best, second only to
Chicken
the butt.
Really?
Yeah, chicken necks are really good.
But that's
Next
what-
time you have like a barbecue chicken, just suck like the meat off the neck,
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
so tender. It's really good.
Oh.
After the
It's
Parsons
good,
nose,
good,
that's
good,
what it's called.
good.
The Parsons. Oh, right, yeah.
Seriously, I'm not lying to you. That's what happens when you grow up poor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chicken necks. Yeah. Anything else generally to add to the episode?
I think this is another episode where I think there's this kind of this. Well, it's not like a theory I've heard, but essentially it's just like a kind of an analysis of the kind of the first like 8-9 seasons of The Simpsons. Is Bart is actually a lot smarter than he kind of you imagine. Like there's that one where he gets kind of like homeschooled, and he actually like excels when there's structure and everything. It's
Yeah.
just that I think people don't pay attention, and like his, you see him as crab apple and whatever, like, and they're like, whatever, like, they don't really give a shit about school. But like, he's actually a smart kid. Like, I mean, it's done as a joke, but in the Simpsons world, when he says like, I'm familiar with the works of Pablo Neruda, like, it's like, well, it's like, well, hold on, if you take that literally, then it's like, well, he's not an idiot, and it's played as a joke, but it's kind of like one of those ones where it reminds you that he's not like this kind of delinquent, really. He's actually kind of a pretty smart kid. He's just
Kind
in
of
the
like
wrong
my cousin.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
deep too. That really did show
Yeah.
his depth, that episode.
Yeah.
And yeah, actually, just thinking about it again, really, Lisa really did have a lot to do with his storyline that I didn't think of as well. She was there in the middle part as well, like when they watched the Itchy and Scratchy episode. One of my favorite Itchy and Scratchy bits.
Oh,
as
yeah,
well, where
for sure.
he's dropping things off the
That's
the needle,
The space needle.
space
Needle,
needle.
yeah.
That's the one. And and Lisa like notices that he's not laughing, and then sets up for Homer to go crashing and get his head stuck into the
Yeah.
banister, and still doesn't make him laugh. And like just the lengths that she'll go to make Bart happy, and
I
like
just love the facial expressions just make. He's like, yeah, see?
Yeah.
See? Like, isn't that great?
yeah.
Just I like how much of a jerk they are to their dad.
Yeah.
Why isn't anyone helping?
And Santa's little helper to come along and bite his ass.
Yeah.
There was another bit that I loved where Bart leaves the restaurant, decides to go get his soul off Millhouse, and running his bike along in the night, and it gets taken up by the street sweeper. And
Yeah.
he's like, oh no, and then it comes up, oh, it's all good and shiny and stuff. Oh, excellent, bit of luck. Falls apart, and then the street sweeper is laughing at him. Then the street sweeper goes down to the subway.
Straight the subways.
So good.
I have no idea why
Just
that-
laughing maniacally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's that Brooklyn guy that shows up in like every job in The Simpsons.
Yeah.
The same guy who's like the exterminator. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
you don't
yeah,
see
yeah.
it, you don't forget a thing like that. Like that
Oh,
guy.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that quote. Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, that kind of just like little things again that like you see missing in later episodes, but it's just just throwaway jokes that are
Yeah.
funny and they don't dwell on them, and it's just hit,
Yeah.
joke. Yeah.
I believe that character's name is Ralph as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
But yeah, he's one of those ones where it's like the voice has been consistent, but he's got like 20 different character
Yeah.
models. Yeah. All right. Well, that it might be time for the questionnaire. So, do you guys remember watching this one back in the day? Got any memories of early viewings and such?
I don't remember when I first saw this one. I feel like I must have seen it when I was a kid, because I remember quite vividly the bit with his dream, like with the souls, like, and them like in the boat, and
Yeah.
him like stranded with just one oar, and everything. So I must have seen it as a kid. I just don't really remember it. But then, obviously, since becoming an adult, kind of watching it and going, yes, I want to watch that again at a later time, that kind of thing. So, but I think it's probably been one of my most viewed episodes. I'd say.
Absolutely. How about you, Shayna? Any early memories from watching it back in the day?
Yeah, I remember again the bit with the souls,
Yeah.
the playing, and the bit with the dinosaur sponge, because I remember always thinking that that's what they did.
Yeah.
And I remember even watching as a kid when that happened and still not realizing that they didn't not turn into like these giant things. So I do remember it maybe not as keenly as some of the other episodes.
Yeah.
But I definitely do remember watching this one as a kid and not getting any of the jokes. And I never really loved this episode. But it's definitely grown to be one of my favorites for sure. It's a more subtle humor. This particular episode is more subtle than a lot of the others.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe you do have to be a bit older for some of the references. And I do remember this episode for me finding out what Inagata DeVita was.
Right, yeah.
Because I was singing that around the house because of the episode, seeing it a million times. And I think it was my brother who goes, "No, it's not Garda Nevita, it's Garda DeVita." And what are you talking about? Played me the song, and then 20 minutes later, I had just listened to it once.
You were halfway through the solo at that point.
That monster keyboard solo.
Yeah.
Totally worth it, listener. If you haven't heard Inagata DeVita by Iron Butterfly.
Iron Butterfly.
Not Iron Butterfly.
Apparently they recorded it like it was. I heard some trivia once that like the guy was like I think it was originally supposed to kind of be in the Garden of Eden, but he came in and he started demoing it, and it was he was just super drunk and he was slurring his words and everything, so it kind of became that. I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah.
Oh, the rumor I always heard was because it was released in the early 70s that they wouldn't be able to sell it if it had religious themes.
Oh,
maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
that
sure there's a
also
lot
makes sense.
Yeah.
Don't forget the protests that happened about Life of Brian.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, true.
I suppose we could always Google this, but you can do it yourself.
Yeah,
listeners, Google it and report back.
Yeah.
Tweet at us at Simpsons Index.
Do you really have a Twitter?
Yeah.
Oh!
At Simpsons Index.
I don't have a Twitter, so.
Okay. I will make a Twitter to retweet things from that.
Oh, thanks, guy.
No worries.
Is this an episode you have revisited a lot? Approximately how many play counts? Start with you, Shayna.
I could not tell you how many play counts. Yes, I've revisited it many times.
Yeah.
I don't know the play count. I know basically the whole episode line for line.
Yeah.
So I'll say
It's got to be 20 plus for both of us, I reckon.
at least. Yeah, it's got to be at least I've seen this episode 20 times.
Yeah.
If I think I've seen this episode, because I would have to say I've seen this episode at least once a year. Every year since I first saw it.
Wow, that's a good way to think about it. Yeah.
Well, I was about to say, and at least once a year, probably multiple times in most of those years.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, there's a good chance I've seen this episode 50 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's actually thinking about it. From seasons probably 2 till 9, I've probably seen every one of those episodes at least 20 times.
Yeah.
That's frightening.
But I've never thought about that. How many times would
No.
have I seen it in a year? That's a good way to measure that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So similar probably because we kind of bought the box set
Because
at the
we
same
are
time.
married.
Yes, and that too. That's probably been I'd say my most watched one.
Yeah.
Just because I think it's also probably because it's season 7. You go, what season should we watch? And when you try and pick a random number, you probably pick like an odd number because it seems more random in inverted commas. And it's like, season 7, we probably haven't seen that in a while. And then it's like the 4th episode of the first disc, so it's pretty easy to kind of pick up.
Such a good disc there as well.
Yeah.
That was hard. I was like, I hope he changes it to Radioactive Man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And then
so
Lisa
good.
becomes a vegetarian and all of
so
that. Another
good.
good one.
Oh, it's like Simpsons porn. It's like, yes.
No,
Yes.
you've seen most Simpsons porn. It is very poorly done.
I haven't seen
Ooh,
any.
Yellow
I
is-
saw the London 2012 Olympics.
Oh, yeah, that's
logo.
true.
That's the most Simpsons
yeah,
porn
the
I've
One with
ever
Lisa
seen.
blowing Bart, basically.
I couldn't believe that. Like,
Oh,
it only
God.
took like the internet a day.
Yeah, not even. I think I was actually living in the UK when they released the logo.
Yeah.
Because I was in the UK when they announced that they got the Olympics, and then I was living in the UK when they launched the logo, and it was almost it was in the next day paper, like it was immediate. That's
Well, it
how.
was
That's
so
when we
obvious
started.
though. When you looked at it and you're
It
like,
does.
that
Okay.
does
And
not
especially
look
when
right.
the colorized version came
Yeah.
out, and like it was just God.
I
And then
didn't,
someone
I
just-
didn't
I-
get it until I saw the colorized version. It wasn't obvious
Yeah.
to me because I'm pure.
Yeah, but then, once you've seen it, you can't unsee
You can't
No.
unsee it. No, not at all.
No, exactly.
So again, if you don't know what we're talking about, it's the London 2012 Games used a logo that looked like Lisa was giving Bart head.
Great.
So not right.
The UK failing at everything since
Yeah.
ever.
Mhm.
Well, at least they're not turning pools green.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes. Did they drain it?
Yeah,
They
they
figure out
drained
what
I
it.
was
think
wrong
they had
with
to.
it?
Yeah, they had to because the synchronized swimmers couldn't compete in it.
So gross.
Yeah, it was green fart water.
Green
Like-
Mm.
Oh, gross. Any jokes that sort of flew over your head and only sort of noticed on this or recent viewings?
Ooh.
Like you were saying before, the U2 snitchy. I think
Yeah.
that one sort of flew over my head as well.
Yeah, so I think I've noticed it before, but I haven't paid attention to it before, if that makes sense.
I think
In such
probably
great
the
detail.
one that makes maybe you knew we already kind of knew about it anyway, but like made more sense, especially after our last trip to the US, was the I expect that kind of language at Denny's, but not here. Because you go, well, what's wrong with Denny's? And then you go to a Denny's and it's like,
Oh, God.
Yeah.
You go to the Denny's in the middle of the day and you're like, oh, God. It's like being anywhere else at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
It's pretty gross.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have got Chairman Mo's magic wok as a kid
Yeah,
either.
Yeah,
actually, I
that's
only just
true.
noticed that one
Yeah.
then. Yeah.
So I always remember Madman Mo's pressure cooker, but I never got the first one. Like I never
Yeah.
understood. But yeah, Chairman Mo's. That's a pretty good name actually.
Yeah.
And just while I think of it, the theme song has always made me laugh as well. I don't even remember the first part, but how it ends. It's good.
While he's like struggling to keep his smile, he's
Yeah.
just like vibrating because it's such a big effort.
Hey, we should go there. It sounds pretty good.
Oh, it's fantastic. So I'm guessing you're going to watch this one again?
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah? 'Cause,
Like
yeah.
at least another 50 times before we die.
We probably don't even need to watch it. We can probably just recite it,
Yeah.
just line for line, because every line is quotable. Like every
line,
It's
yeah.
so good.
Yeah. Oh, totally. All right, let's talk about the wackiness. I guess it wasn't super wacky. I mean, the whole notion of the soul and Bart all of a sudden not being able to open automatic doors and breathe and
Yeah.
have warm breath. Like,
Yeah, but I think the idea of
Yeah.
a child, what they would think if they sold their soul, is not wacky at all.
No.
I think from a child's perspective, which this episode really is from Bart's perspective, it's not crazy. Actually, one of the things that was like the wackiest for me is that Bart didn't go home and nobody called the cops. Like
Oh,
over
yeah.
the night, that's probably
Yeah.
the most wacky. But otherwise, I think what a child would do is
Yeah.
probably pretty dead on.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But I didn't think about that. Yeah, a 10-year-old just bails from a restaurant.
Yeah.
Homer just eats his dinner.
The I guess the wacky part came from the Mo story. I guess
Yeah.
like with the fact that he could set up his restaurant in record time, essentially like do a full reno in like a day.
Yeah.
It
Have
seems.
you not seen The Block?
Yeah, no, I have.
No, actually,
not.
I haven't either. I don't know if they could do it in a day.
I just want to know if they do it. Yeah. I think the wackiness kind of comes from that and the the $1 million birthday prize and the fact that it's like he's doing it and the Navy deep fryer and
Yeah.
everything else. Like it's all a bit that I think that's where it comes. But it's not. Yeah, you're right. It's not exceedingly so. It's pretty tame for a Simpsons episode, I guess.
Yeah. I guess there is just little wacky moments, like you said, just to enhance the story of what Bart would perceive, and like when he's going for Ralph, and then Chief Wiggum shines a light on him, and he's got cat eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He like
Yeah.
disappears into the steam as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll do cat noises in Sterling. We are also joined today by Sterling, but
He's doesn't really make
he
a
is
noise.
tired as shit.
And filthy and dropping all of his dirt on Elliot.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. I like dog smell.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the heart. So we're sort of saying before that
Yeah.
a lot of the heart lies with Lisa helping Bart with this
But
episode,
not a
and
lot
Bart.
of soul.
Nah.
Like, crack me up.
Nah,
Get
the
out.
soul comes back at the end.
That's
Yeah.
true, it does.
I'm like a couple of beers in, but at the end, I kind of got a bit like, oh, that's kind of nice. That's such a nice ending, and like, you know, because like he's so grateful to her as well and everything, and she's like all embarrassed, like not any of the ones you know about, like, you know. But yeah, it's so nice. It's so like heartwarming to it's that part of the episode, because it's that kind of sibling love, because they're usually completely at odds with each other, and it's kind of like they've still got that like bond that you know, she will do something, well, pay more than $50 for a soul for her brother.
I don't know if that cost $50. Would all of those Alf pogs have cost $50?
Yeah,
Possibly.
well, that's true. Good point.
I don't know. Who's nostalgic over Pogs and Alf?
Yeah.
I had Alf pogs, and I had my uncle.
Yeah.
I didn't have him. He did it for me. I didn't ask for them. He surprised my sister and I by making pogs with our faces on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
I know. My uncles are pretty awesome.
Shayna Pogs.
They're really
Seriously
cute.
limited run.
Yeah,
And then-
very. There was one of myself and one of my sister. That's
And then
it.
you lose them in a battle, and someone's like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah, I think this had a lot of heart, this episode.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
It mixes it well. It's not all sap, but it's it has a nice little ending to it.
Yeah, and I guess, yeah, like you're saying, that's what the Mo story is there for. Ultimately, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
Oh, God, yes. This
It's
is like
like-
premium
Yeah.
episode of The Simpsons.
For me, this is like the quintessential Simpsons episode, because it kind of, you get a bit of a even like, you know, Marge only has like a couple of lines, but you get a view into essentially the crux of like each character and what they're about, and yeah, I love it. It feels exactly like the Simpsons episode, like the Simpsons episode, if you're gonna make one.
Yep.
To me, anyway.
One little animation note. Mo doesn't always have that tooth missing, right?
I was at the whole time, I'm like, sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. I was going to actually bring it up, and I totally forgot until you just said it. Have I just not been paying attention, or does Mo, when he is on one side, is he missing a tooth on the left side of his face?
Yeah, I think that it's just extra in this episode.
Yeah. There's another little bit as well where Bart wakes up from the dream, like, no, wake up with standard scream, like that bit, and he's screaming, and you can only see his top row of teeth, bottom row of teeth is missing, and I wasn't sure if that's just because it's like his,
like that
but yeah,
concept.
I just was like going, oh, that's weird as well. I didn't know if it was like, but it wasn't enough for me to like take me out of the episode or anything. It's
I'm
just
more
like,
noticed with that bit. I'm pretty sure that's reused animation from the Treehouse of Horror.
Could
'cause
be.
Could
it
be, yeah.
just snaps and just looks a lot older. I don't.
Yeah.
I know it might be me too reading in too much to it. Any other quotable moments?
that's just something they made up to scare kids, like the Boogeyman or Michael Jackson.
There's
Or,
one that I didn't get at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, like I don't think there's not many times where I'll go through an automatic door and not go, thank you, door.
Yeah.
Or like, way to breathe, no breath. That's like another one of my favorite ones. Or the, yeah, like with the Millhouse, yes. Okay, you're getting pretty bored with that soul now. No. What are the other one with the nice doing business with you anytime, chum. I've still got more. Hey, mister, this is you. Oh, jeez, you got the stink lines and everything.
Yeah. Oh, my soda is too cold.
I'll tell you what you
your
do,
teeth
you
hurt.
damn sody.
You tell you what you
I
you
love
freaking
how they
sody.
made it the most like sympathetic looking, cute little girl. That
Yeah, and
you'd
just goes
totally
nuts.
go bring her like a warmer cola, and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
of course Mo loses his shit at her.
And like, yes, what is it, sweetheart? But the I'm sorry, the laughter of children cuts through me like a dentist drill. Like, yeah.
A dentist drill.
The Marge thing as well. Oh, honey, you're not a monster.
Yeah, and the way he looks is like,
Yeah,
oh my
he's
god,
just-
am
Oh
I?
my God,
He,
am I
Am I
a
a
monster?
monster?
he hadn't even considered it, and then
Yeah.
she put the thought in his head.
Jordan, you're missing the most important line probably in all The
Oh.
Simpsons, which is,
Oh, my freaking ears!
how did she know what I was going to say?
I just knew because that was next on my list. Or you dial 9-1, then when I say it, dial 1
One
again.
again.
Just so many. Mo, wasn't that the problem in the first
Yeah.
place? That you were losing all that money? Mo? Oh, you're thinking about all the money you lost. What was it, 50, 60,000? Mo? Maybe you should start thinking about all the things that you did wrong and listen to them. Mo? What? I'll get a pad.
Yeah, perfect. All right, it's time to rank this thing. Jordan, you picked this episode, so I'll let you go first.
It is like ultra triple platinum cubic zirconia for me.
Cubic zirconia.
It's like the best of the best. So, I mean, I can't get much higher than that. So, yeah.
Yep, all right, Shayna?
I have to be with Jordan on this one. I totally agree. This is like ultimate. This is what you were saying was if somebody had never seen The Simpsons before, what episode would you show them? And this would definitely be one of them. This would have to be absolutely one of the episodes.
Yeah, like I said it at the start, and I was hoping I'd come to a decision because I was skirting the line between gold and cubic zirconia, and there was something bringing it down for me. But honestly, thinking about it, talking about the episode, I actually can't really fault it on anything. So yeah, I'm giving it cubic zirconia.
Wow, 3 cubic zirconias.
That's
Unanimous. All right, so next we're watching Shayna's pick, which you picked from an episode of Worst Episodes Ever.
Yay.
Season 18, episode 12, Little Big Girl. So neither of you have seen this one
No.
before. All right.
I can't wait.
Yep.
I can wait.
Let's watch this dumpster fire.
All right, let's do it.
Of course, Natalie Portman came along and hard made that fucking thing up. All right, we just watched Little Big Girl, which was fucking crap, and also the 12th season.
Give it away, Elliot.
12th episode of the 18th season. Guys, what'd you think?
Oh, Jesus.
just
like sitting through that was agony. It was agony. Well, I did find it on a list of the 10 worst ever episodes of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it earned its place on that list.
Yes, it really did. It did a great job of getting onto that list.
Yeah.
And I think it was like number 4 on the list as
Yeah.
well. So it was pretty high ranking on the list of the worst 10 episodes.
Oh man, that was bad. Okay, so just a quick synopsis. So basically, in the first scene, Lisa decides that she's got a genealogy report coming up, so she's going to lie and say she's got Native American history, and then it's sort of the B story, but then it's the A story. It's very confusing.
Yeah.
That Bart gets a driver's license from the city for putting out a fire with an office chair fire hydrant hybrid car thing. And then he finds himself in North Haverbrook, where he picks up a pregnant 15-year-old. And they decide to get married. And so, yeah, what I really hated about this episode is that neither storylines, nothing, there were no good reasons behind what anyone did, and there was no good material that came out of it.
No.
Nah, not at
God,
all.
I just found myself like just cringing a lot. I just had a look.
Yeah.
So that first aired in 2007, which was
about
2 years after Revenge of the Sith, when everyone already knew that Natalie Portman was not like an actor by that stage, really. But I mean, I guess Black Swan hadn't come out, so whatever. But I don't think any. No, there was a couple of points where I think we maybe laughed out loud, but it was a background joke that we
Yes.
laughed at. That was it. I think the only thing was the Cletus's son.
Cletus's family tree was great.
that was
there was
funny.
a little alien there and a guy dressed up as a hot dog at one
Yeah.
point, and that was great. But then they ruined it by having the whole drowning rats bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
my
what the
God.
fuck was that? The fire thing, that fire joke about how the fire got started, and it was like one of those the
look,
machines that
I
like,
love a good Rune Goldberg joke
Yeah.
as much as anybody. Like, I love contraption humor and machine things, and like, I don't know, just for example, in Futurama, where they think they tried Fry as a robot, and he has to go through the robot prison.
Yeah.
That's some great Rune Goldberg humor there. But this one,
like it was like add wacky music, have like for some reason like a chicken chick like rolling on a flaming log and stuff, and then it doesn't catch fire, but then the pipe falls and that catches. It's like, what is going on? What is this even about anymore?
Yeah, and then the fire spreads and then opens up Burns's mansion
Yeah.
gate. Yeah, don't watch this episode, but that's what it does. The fire sprouts hands and opens the latch on the gate.
Yeah.
Spreads through Burns's mansion, and then Smithers is there, and he
Smithers on
catches
fire.
fire, and he goes, "Oh, Mr. Burns, I'm flaming." And then Mr. Burns, no shit, looks down the barrel at the camera with his hands under his chin.
With like one of those...
And
like
we all
looks.
went, ugh.
Like, see how clever we are? Oh, this is the worst joke of the episode. Actually, no, it's not the worst joke of the episode. We'll get to that, I'm sure.
But I got to say what the best joke of the episode is, and I do quote this all the time, actually, and it sucks that it's from this episode, is when Bart's driving the car and Lisa's in there and she's nagging him, and she goes, "Hey, your hands are meant to be at 10 and 2, not 3 and nothing."
Yeah.
It was like, that
I
was
do
pretty
love that joke.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
pretty good.
Because that is how I drive.
Yeah.
3 and nothing.
You want to know what I think the most annoying part about this episode is? Lisa just isn't that dumb.
No.
Like, she
No,
could
she's
have
not.
made up a Native American name.
Yeah.
But she chose a clearly Japanese name.
And she chose
Like
a
one that
name
everyone
of an
knows.
appliance that everybody knows.
Yeah.
Everyone
exactly.
fucking knows what Hitachi is, and everyone just like goes with it, and it's just like, what? It's just really lazy. Like, they could have done
Yes.
anything. They didn't need to make it from her microwave to start with. But then like she goes with it. Like, I know she's gotten into trouble before in episodes, but she's still the goody really of the family.
Yeah. But Homer and Marge go with it as well. Like,
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like in the older episodes, it would have been a thing that maybe Homer didn't pay attention to, but Marge was like, hang on, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also feel like that is not just that, but I don't think that Lisa would lie about where she comes from. Lisa's quite proud of her family. Remember that episode of the Simpson women versus the Simpson men?
Oh, yeah.
Sort of thing. And Lisa's quite proud of her history, and she's quite proud of making sure that she always does everything right. And this is just like, I didn't look hard enough because my dad didn't tell me.
Yeah.
Like, my dad didn't tell me, so I didn't look. And his great grandmother or something like was really close relation in terms of a family tree, and she just like fucking gave up and then made it a microwave.
Yeah,
It's
and
so bad.
if she'd been researching that hard, which she clearly does, like, yeah, she would have discovered that Homer had a great grandmother that
Yeah.
was Indian. Like, that wasn't even worth the joke for that throwaway line.
No.
Or the fact that like Marge's maiden name is Bouvier, which is like clearly French.
Yeah.
So she's clearly got French heritage. So why wouldn't you investigate that? It's not just like,
Yeah.
oh, white is boring. Like, there's all the other people at that fair that have got like European. There's like a Norwegian helmet guy. Like Nelson
there's
has got
Italian,
this stupid
French.
German joke that's like, I didn't come here to be insulted. And
Oh,
then
yeah, and he just grabs his hat and his
Wiener
dachshund
dog,
and
yeah.
Stein and leaves.
And it's just like it's so dumb, and it just frustrated me.
Yeah.
For the whole episode, 'cause I'm like, why would she do that? Like, do they understand what show they're writing for?
Yeah, and yeah, but okay, so that sort of starts out as the A storyline for
Yeah.
the first half of the episode, and then it just sort of switches focus to Bart. So the fire eventually reaches downtown Springfield, and meanwhile Bart has stolen all the fire hydrants from the school to build a fire hydrant powered car, which ends up putting out the entire town's fire besides the fact he only went down one street. And then he just Chief Quimby just hands him a driver's license.
Yeah, just has him. And then
yeah,
there's
and Mayor
the
Quimby's
so
voice
funny.
sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want my guts to be in some sick person. They will just scratch off their donor sticker of their license. It's like,
You know what the problem was with this episode? The problem that made me so angry about this episode was that there are a lot of our listeners can't hear my inverted comment. There are a lot of jokes in this episode that I know that if this episode was in seasons 1 through 12, they actually would have executed them properly.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of
Yeah.
jokes in this that could have been done really well that weren't, like Homer calling Bart while standing right beside him and telling him he doesn't want to fill up his tires with gas, he
my
wants
God.
to fill up the
Yeah.
volleyballs. Whereas I guess, not that I'm a comedy writer, so I wouldn't know, but Homer would probably just be doing something like saying he's filling up the tires, and actually we see him filling up the volleyballs instead. It wouldn't just be like,
Yeah.
hey, let me explain this visual gag to you. Oh,
I think that,
God,
actually, you know
it's
what? I think that was
agony.
probably out of the whole episode. I think the bit that followed that was probably my favorite part of the episode. Was the kind of D story of whatever Homer got himself into, because he was like, "I'm in Chinatown, not our
Yeah.
town's Chinatown," and then some bad man put me in the like
Not cool.
locked me in the thing,
cool
yeah,
people
and
locked
not
me
cool
in the-
people locked me in my own trunk, and then obviously he was like getting threatened, but like they wanted to figure out what the difference between catsup and ketchup was. It was like
Oh.
that kind of thing. I thought it was like, okay, it's like they didn't go back to it. It was just like a funny thing that was happening in the background.
Yeah,
and
they just
that
threw
was
it
my
away.
favorite part of the whole episode,
Yeah.
because it was like the rest of it was just.
But they were using old references to
Yeah.
try and get you
Yeah,
to
that's
fall in
true.
love with the episode. The old credits.
Ketchup.
Yeah.
Ketchup,
the
North
credits.
Haverbrook, Ogdenville. They were
Yeah,
using these
yeah.
places with like,
Which reminds
just to
me,
suck you in.
isn't North Haverbrook supposed to be like a hellhole that is decrepit and
It
like
is
completely
now.
ruined
Yeah. North
because of the
Haverbrook,
monorail?
Ogdenville
I was
are
trying
all-
to think. Oh well, I guess they'd all be because they were all.
They were all, remember when
Yeah.
Marge
The
went back
monorail?
to take a look
Yeah,
at
yeah.
them,
Mm.
and they were all like falling
Was it
apart because the
Brockway or
monorail.
Ogdenville that she went to, or was it North Haverbrook?
I can't remember which
No,
one.
I'm pretty sure it was North Haverbrook, but theoretically they should all look like that.
That
Yeah.
was the idea. in
Now
the
they've got like
episode
a
was
giant
that
moon
they'd all
bounce, and it's just like this amazing town that's filled with teens, and
Yeah.
it's like, what is that? What's going on? Like,
It's
why
just-
would you?
I think it's just an old reference to get you to love the
yeah.
episode.
There's
It's
no
bringing back that-
reason to make it that town.
No,
No.
other
it could have
than
been
to make
anywhere.
you go, oh, remember that?
Oh
like an
yeah,
Easter
I
egg.
got a reference.
But
Yeah.
that you go, wait, that doesn't make sense because I remember the old good episode and that does not fit.
Yeah.
And then Bart goes there and picks up a girl that had already gotten pregnant, and I don't know, it was just messy and didn't make for any good material.
Nah.
And, like, it would have been even funny if like they lent in harder to the whole, Bart's still a kid thing, and
Yeah.
that he clearly wasn't ready for marriage, but they didn't even do that. They just did a bunch of like she's being annoying sort of jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, they weren't funny. It wasn't funny.
They weren't funny.
Only
And what
thing that-
actually? Oh, sorry, you go.
I was going to say
honey.
the only thing that came kind of close was the, wow, must be the first guy that's ever got pressured into marriage. And it's like,
Yeah.
There was something I
That's a
liked,
joke.
and I didn't realize this was made in 2007. So many years before I ever heard of the term cultural appropriation. But she said something like, well, that's my history, so don't look into it because otherwise it's really deeply offensive.
yeah.
Did they know that SJWs were actually going to end up doing
Yeah.
that in
Yeah.
2016? Sometimes The Simpsons is really insightful in the
Yeah.
older
Scarily.
episodes.
Scarily.
But this, 2007 was, I mean, I'd never heard of the idea of cultural appropriation. And now if you think of what people say cultural appropriation is, actually what Lisa does in that episode is actual cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
The difference between wearing dreadlocks and
Yeah.
stealing a history of somebody and saying that it's your own.
Absolutely.
You know, and so it's interesting, that I found was really interesting that they had put that in an episode as what was supposed to be a joke, which wasn't funny, that actually turned out to be the fucking world that is driving me crazy right now. So it's really, I thought that was interesting just to see that, but not funny.
I
And then
felt,
something else.
though, and you're probably going to disagree with me on this point, Shayna, but I feel like the whole episode was just like a big fuck you to Native Americans anyway.
it wasn't-
like,
you know,
it was
it's-
trying to be like, oh, we're like celebrating or whatever, but it's like, oh, I'm not actually Native American, I'm two guys
I
in a
hated
midget, and,
that.
and I'm Japanese, or I'm original or whatever. But then it's like, also that, yeah, of course they shoot fucking fire arrows if you
Yes.
upset them, and it's like, what the fuck
You know,
do
I
you
think-
actually think about Native Americans?
But I'm not. Look, I'm not a hypersensitive person.
Yeah.
I'm not, and I let a lot of shit go because I just think it's not worth getting offended over. Not that I thought it was offensive, but I thought it was like that. There was like no class to the way that you handled
No,
that
it was
at
weak.
all.
You know what? It was similar
really weak.
to the like the Puerto Rican, Cuban, Mexican thing in the last one they
Yeah.
did. Like it was
Yeah.
just like you're trying to make a racial joke, but just in the wrong way. Like I don't know how you make it, because again, I'm not a comedy writer either. But it's just not like that.
No.
Like that
No,
just
okay.
wasn't
You
funny.
know how you
and-
do it? The city of New Orleans, which is my favorite city in the whole world, got offended by the joke of New Orleans in
Yeah.
the Streetcar Named Marge episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a funny way to insult someone. That's actually, it's not even insulting. The city got insulted, but it's actually really funny. That's how you do it. Or even like when, where is it Lisa or is it Bart when they're running through like the Russian part of town and everyone's just yelling, but
Yeah.
she's like, why is everyone angry? And it's like, they're just Russian. That's true. That's a stereotype that's true. That Russians, I say this with Russian family, don't take as offensive. It's funny because it's an accurate depiction of us. It's not an accurate depiction of Native Americans that they just shoot fire arrows and their names are
Squawking
Screaming
Bear.
Editor,
Yeah,
Squawking
and
Bear.
nagging
Yeah.
editor or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, it wasn't playing with or subverting the stereotypes. It was just
No.
saying these are the stereotypes, and then
Yeah.
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 And like trying to make it, oh, it's all okay because we said you had great cheekbones, but like, just-
Which they do. Remember when we were
Well,
in Santa Fe, how
yeah,
gorgeous
yeah.
they all were?
I know, but it's it
I
just
know,
seemed
I'm just
really
kidding.
just unclassy.
It was unclassy.
It was like like low blow after low blow.
And
with the
even
Native
like the
American shit.
joke at, okay, we get it. The Germans did a lot of shit in the past. And so we laugh at German jokes quite frequently. And the Simpsons have made some good Nazi jokes and
Yeah.
good German jokes. That one with Nelson was not one of them.
No.
Right. And there was another Nelson joke where, now leaving Springfield, the birthplace of Nelson. I'm like, why
I know,
is that
why?
there?
This whole, like, you
Even
know,
birthplace of Sideshow Mel would have been funnier. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
So yeah, well, I guess I can skip over the question. Do you see yourself watching this episode again?
God, no.
I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know. Do I feel like, am I suicidal at that
How
point?
much do you
where I'm
hate
just-
yourself?
Yeah.
If I just
I'm
wanna
having a really bad
cry.
body day, so I'm gonna watch this episode
Yeah.
again.
If I ever feel like maybe I'm too happy, and I just need to like bring it back a touch, I'll
Yeah.
watch this episode.
Yeah, if I ever feel like you haven't pissed me off enough in a day, and I
Yeah.
want to get angry for
Yeah.
some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just on the wackiness. Look, wackiness in Simpsons can work. It's just this didn't. And
No.
yeah, both things were wacky. Lisa was foregoing her previously established morals to culturally appropriate Native American heritage. And
I guess it did fit with her like need to get an A in stuff, but
Yeah.
she just wouldn't have got about it that way in the past.
No,
she
that-
wouldn't have turned on that quickly.
No.
That whole turn of her deciding to do that happens in the first, like the credits haven't even stopped rolling
Yeah.
yet. Like,
And I think what it did. I mean, Lisa has a need not only for an A, but Lisa also always has a need to be special and stand out.
yeah.
But this is not the way that Lisa would do it.
No, the one bit of wackiness that is probably the quite over the top, but I actually liked. Probably again, maybe it was one of the better parts of the episode was the alternate opening credits where Bart gets out of school and he plows the car out of the school doors instead of the thing, and
Yeah.
Yeah, and he runs the same course that he does when he's skateboarding in the car. And
but then Homer gets out of his car and he just
And
flattens
kills
him with
him,
the car.
yeah.
It's like, well, are you going to explain that at all?
No.
We'll just
No.
keep moving on. Okay, cool.
It feels like what I've noticed in the last watching these later episodes of The Simpsons with you is later episodes of The Simpsons treats characters the way that South Park treats their characters, which is that they experience pain and death, but they always come back.
Yeah.
Whereas The Simpsons in the past, when you've killed someone or hurt someone, that's been reoccurring. The death remains.
yeah.
The injury is paid attention to because they're just normal people who are animated.
With the exception of Hans Moleman, he was like canny for many
Yeah.
episodes, but he was the only one. Whereas, they recklessly do that with so many of their characters and just kill them and really hurt them like for no good reason.
Did Marvin Monroe ever come back at some point or something?
Dr.
No,
Marvin
he was
Monroe,
definitely
no, we didn't.
permanently
I
dead.
did see a shot with a psychologist. It was when they were watching the movie. I didn't.
Oh, yeah, but
I
it
actually
Right.
didn't mind that bit where they cut back to the movie and the guy's like, "Oh my god, I'm getting over the killer
Yeah.
thing." And the
Actually, the
psychologist.
clip of the movie was like, that's actually what happens when you watch horror movies.
Yeah.
Hey, baby, let's make out here.
Yeah.
10th anniversary of the
I got this.
serial killer sort of
I got this
thing.
really weird. You know when he's on the second part of the movie, he's on the couch and he goes, "Oh well, what do you think, Doc?" And the doc pulls out the thing, but then they're kissing in the foreground, and you can still see the movie kind of in the background. You see the psychologist's face. It just, to me, it struck me as like this Popeye cartoon for some reason. Like the face, like the style of the cartoon in the background reminded me of like those old Popeye cartoons so strongly, and I was like, I couldn't focus on anything else.
Is it because he looked like Sinbad?
Yeah.
The psychologist, he looked very much like the one that hypnotizes the softball team.
Oh, yes,
at
he
110%.
Yeah.
It's impossible. So yeah, just lastly on the wackiness and the whole, the fire, the Rube Goldberg thing, and
the fire spreading along the road and not the grass. It's
like,
it's funny. It's not funny.
No, it was totally all there just to set up the lofty excuse that Bart has a driver's license and everyone's okay with it. Which is wacky and didn't set up enough good material.
What was wacky was that any state in any of the country, in the country of the United States, would allow a 10-year-old to get married. That's completely wacky. But what I did like is like, only one wife? What are you, gay?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's funny.
Yeah, not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad. That's how you do a racist joke against Utah.
Yeah. Exactly.
So the heart, there wasn't any.
No.
There was no heart in this episode.
The only bit I could think of was at the end where, like Homer's tucking Bart into bed, and it's like, I thought it'd be great for a while. I thought it'd be great getting married, and then we just ended up fighting all the time. And Homer's like, "Yeah, how about that?" Like,
that line I liked. It reminded me of, we started out like Romeo and Juliet, but we ended up in tragedy.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of that. It just wasn't as well executed.
No.
But yes, that was a little bit of heart, because that is what married life is all about.
Pretty much.
Wow, this is
God,
what
I
this
fucking
episode
hate
did
you.
a lot, though. Just reminded you of better episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, basically.
So did it feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
Nah.
No.
Felt like a pile of shit.
No, it felt like, I don't know.
I've literally picked up pieces of sterling shit that I would rather do. Like, that was better than watching this.
Rather do.
I don't know. My
Where
English
are
bad.
you right now?
Me English bad.
You fail English. So I'm pretty sure we went all over all the potential quotable moments.
Yeah.
There's a couple more that I remember that are just really shit. Like that whole clean,
Anti-quotable
dirty,
moments.
clean, dirty. And it just wasn't
Yeah.
funny, and it just kept going. Like the bit at the start where he's like, look, I can make the lake, what is it, with the butter?
The butter lady
The-
Oh,
can
right.
make her flash the
Yeah.
boobs. Yeah.
It's like clean, dirty, clean, dirty, clean. Are you still going? Can you please stop? That was off. What was the bit at the end where Lisa runs out at the very first presentation that she does, and Skinner and Chalmers are there?
Oh, yeah.
And Chalmers goes, "No, go make me some coffee." And it's like,
What was that?
Is that a
Yeah.
reference to something?
I don't know
I had
if that's
no
just, like,
idea
time
what
filling.
that was, and I just didn't understand. Yeah, that was like,
And yeah, Lisa's voiceover, like mentally thinking it out. I didn't remember liking it. I don't remember what happened, but I didn't remember liking it.
the one little visual gag that also I did kind of like was they spent $200 in Colorado, and it's like you see outside Homer, like they've just dumped the like fudge or gum or whatever it is.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
outside
and
his
he
thing.
licks his lips.
It's just that little lick that he
Yeah.
does. And I thought, it's kind of cute.
That was a nice touch.
And the other thing was, when like Bart's like, oh, what am I going to do with my wish? And he's dreaming, and he's like, maybe a squishy IV or whatever. And it's like, kiss Bart's butt. And everyone's queuing up. And it's
Harry
like,
Potter's
Harry
Potter?
Potter's there? Yeah,
Why
I
is
don't
Harry
know.
Potter there? Why is he there? It's just not
Yeah.
even reference. It's just like, hey, this is a cultural reference. You
Yeah.
should get it.
Yeah.
It's like, ugh. Anyway.
And I was going to say, I didn't actually like any of the bits there, maybe except the driving the car off the ramp and slam dunking the basketball.
Yeah.
I did like that because it was kind of reminiscent
Yeah.
of old Bart's fantasies, even though I didn't think any of the material was that strong there.
Yeah.
Another one. Are Letty and Carl brothers?
Oh, that whole... they've got
That's
a confusing relationship.
That's
but-
where our mum works, they
Yeah.
said. Like in the...
I didn't get that joke.
Are they supposed to be brothers? Is that what
No,
they're
I
saying?
think the joke is that they've got a very confusing history. Like,
Right.
Are they gay? Are they just friends? Are they related? And,
Yeah.
later on they go visit Carl's home country, which turns out to be Iceland. So
Okay.
you can look forward to that episode, maybe.
So one
Yeah?
more thing. The one that probably made me cringe the most, because it just came out of fucking nowhere. What the fuck is Utah karate?
Yeah. But
What
does a
was
flying
that?
kitten says Utah Karate.
It's like Utah Karate, and it's just the slow-mo and like the music changes and it fails obviously, but it's like where did that even come from the beginning? And that just made me like my hand balled up into a fist because it's just so mad. I actually really like the music in this episode. I think it was kind of used poorly, like the driving music.
Yeah,
there was like I can't even remember what the music was now.
Bill Haley in the comments.
Yeah.
Rock around
and then
the clock.
but then there was the one as they first drove off. It's like it wasn't like Edgar Winter's Group or something. It was something though. But and there was a couple of like really good songs in there. But it's just like a 10-second grab and then it ends and it's not like used. Whereas I think of, for example, the episode where they get the car and there's the 4 kids and they go on the not just a state fair but a world's fair, like that one.
Yeah.
And there's Golden Earrings, Radar Love playing,
Yeah,
and there's that
yeah.
cool like tracking shot around the car and everything like that. And that's where I go like, yeah, that's like a really good use of music in The Simpsons and everything. And the animation is really good. Whereas this was just like, hey, you remember this song? Cool. All right,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah.
Like So
Yeah, it didn't serve much.
it
but-
wasn't used well.
All right, let's rank this thing. Shayna, kick it off. From the failure, the participant, bronze, silver, gold, or cubic zirconia, where are you?
Is there like a dog shit vote that I can give it? That's my
essentially
vote.
failure, yeah.
Yeah, what's the opposite of cubic zirconia? Because I feel like failure doesn't quite capture.
Coal. Just a fucking lump of coal. Actually, no, you can do something with coal at least.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a failure. Oh my god.
Yeah.
You know what? Last week you used the term dumpster fire. Last episode, dumpster fire, and this is just a. You know, at least a dumpster fire keeps you warm.
Yeah, that
you know,
provides warmth.
this does nothing. This offers you nothing, nothing. Oh god, the nothing. Oh, I'm just walking away to start pulling out some ice cream out of the freezer to drown my sorrow.
Where are you ranking it, Jordan?
Yeah, it's got to be a failure for me. It's not got enough going for it to give it the participant. Like
No, it really doesn't.
I just can't. It can't justify a participant for this. No.
No, I'm failing it too. And so yeah, there's this period between about season 14 and till the end of season 18 where they're half working on the movie.
Right,
So
okay.
there is a definite dip around these seasons. It's like that episode where they show Bart's cone of the classroom diorama, the cone of failure, and how it centers around Bart.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway, that's the movie. That just sucked out so much resources for these episodes.
And
and
that
you
wasn't
can
even
tell.
that good either. But anyway, that's
No.
fine. Anyway.
Okay, well, that's that episode in the bag. We've got one more to do tonight, and because of Shayna's love of Mr. John Hamm, I've decided we will be watching Donnie Fatso,
Yay!
and we will be back shortly. And we are back, and we just watched Donnie Fatso, Season 22, Episode 9. I picked this one for Shayna because it's got John Hamm in it. What'd you think, Shayna?
Not even John Hamm's incredible dulcet tones could save this episode. His voice is heaven to me. And even that, like, it was just... John Hamm is actually, okay, so just speaking very seriously about John Hamm at the moment, he's, I mean, absolutely incredible, of course, as Don Draper, but he's actually a very good comedic actor.
Yeah.
He's actually really funny, and you got none of that in this.
No.
If someone had said to me, if I had not seen any of the comedy he had done,
Yeah.
and then they were like, oh yeah, he's funny because of The Simpsons, I would like not believe it. Never believe it.
No.
I feel like he recorded
terrible.
his lines in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And just
He
got
just
out of
went
the
in for half an
studio.
hour and then, yeah.
Well, there wasn't anything particularly, like, interesting about his character. His character was just really mostly there just to deliver story beats, like, really. Like, yeah. It wasn't, one of the standout, like, celebrities not playing themselves characters.
Yeah.
No, exactly. It's not like when Michael Jackson's episode is pretty unique amongst Simpsons episodes, but there have been a lot of guest voices that have not, played
Michelle
themselves.
Pfeiffer doing Mindy and so many other ones.
Even
Lisa Kudrow
Lisa
playing,
Kudrow,
the
there've been a lot of
one.
good ones.
Yeah.
This was not one of them.
No.
Just a quick synopsis of the episode. Basically, Homer gets in trouble with the law for trying to bribe a city official, and then the FBI asks him to go undercover and find out something about going on with Fat Tony's gang, and then Homer unfortunately becomes responsible for Fat Tony's death, and then Fit Tony comes along, Fat Tony's cousin, comes along to kill Homer and decides that, oh, no, Homer's okay, and then Fit Tony then starts overeating and then becomes Fat Tony, doing a whole Armin Tanzarian fucking resetting the shit at the end.
Yeah.
I gotta say, though, for the... I like a lot of the jokes in this episode, and even though the first act was super weak and the third act was pretty weak, especially with the Fit Tony coming in and replacing Fat Tony, I gotta say, I liked some of the jokes in this episode. The whole, to move the camera and then just forget about it to do the self-destruct. I liked that when it came back again.
Like I said, when it was... The first time I saw it, I'm like, well, that's kind of dumb. But then when he said it at the second time, and he just goes, forget about it, and then it just, like, his hair catches on fire. I thought that was fine.
Yeah.
But the first bit was like, okay, all right. But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, some of the gags were okay. They weren't outrageously, offensively bad like the last episode we watched.
No.
It just...
Yeah, it was just sort of a bit flat for most of it.
Yeah, it was flat.
Probably the funniest part, which is, when I think about it now, is still kind of, it's a low high water mark, really, was the bit with where they're just waking up and they're hungover, and it's like, but back in Samoa, we've got the Blue Angels waking up the shrieking birds, and just the sound of the birds made me laugh, because it was just that, like, it was just, oh, sorry, Sterling. That was probably one of the, for me, that was like the high point of the episode in terms of that made me kind of smile, and everything else was just a flat, okay, all right, this is happening.
I didn't, they say that the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. I felt very indifferent to this episode. It wasn't like the last episode made me angry because it was so terrible. This one I was just like, I didn't peak or fall at any point. It was just...
No, and, like, I gotta say, it did sit a lot better in my memory, but there were, like, a lot of problems with that first act, like, the whole Homer getting continuous fines thing. That would have been good, except I don't think it was executed that well.
No.
And it went for too long.
And then the whole, when he goes to Moe, and Moe's like, oh, I can get you around it. You just need to come to a quiet place first. And then they end up in Wicked for some reason.
Yeah.
It's like these seasons, and this is exactly what happened with the Harry Potter reference in the last episode. Oh, Wicked. Oh, it's the most popular Broadway show of the last, couple of decades.
Yeah.
Let's just chuck it in there because everybody knows what it is.
But again, like
For what reason?
It was the season 19 one we did last time. It just kept going. Like the Moe doing the mirror of
the chimpan me.
Chimpan me. Not a bad pun.
Not
a bad pun.
But then the joke kept going.
Yeah.
For no...
It's just like, it isn't funny anymore. Just please stop. Please stop.
Oh, you're
Please
still going.
Oh!
And then after all that, they end up back in the front room of the bar anyway. And, Moe just says, oh, you just need to give him a bribe. And then Homer going, oh, that was meant to say bride. And then some woman comes along and takes it. It wasn't good. But then, But then the second act, I think, like, it came around a bit better. Because I actually liked the whole idea of Homer going in as an informant, again, very reminiscent of older, better episodes, but like, this was a good spin on it to have him infiltrate Fat Tony's gang. And
Well, I guess you compare this one to like when Bart becomes like the bartender,
yeah.
and like that. I feel that is a better, well,
Obviously.
one, it's been done, and two, it was done better.
Yeah.
In the previous one,
That
right?
seems to be what happens in all of these new episodes. As we always say, it's like this other episode. Just does no justice to anything at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, 20 years of episodes, I guess. Yeah, they're going to repeat themselves. But it's like,
Well, that's right,
as
yeah.
long as they do it well. And this one, it was okay. Like,
I'm just trying to think. So when was this season 22?
oh,
So this would have aired like 2011.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel that no one would remember Donnie Brasco by this stage.
I know.
Yeah, and Donnie Brasco it's a pretty good movie, but it's not, I would say, a classic. It's not like your Goodfellas or Godfather. It's not like this is essential viewing. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's a pretty decent movie, but I feel like anyone who's still watching The Simpsons now probably hasn't seen Donnie Brasco, so this is kind of like maybe the little references are just.
No, sincerely doubt it. And yeah, the Goodfellas references as well, they're fun and everything, but it's like, it doesn't, like, for the Cape Fear episode, like, it doesn't, like, really run with the homage or anything. It's just a couple of little nods to it.
Yeah.
And that's actually something that The Simpsons used to do really well back then when we were watching it. It would reference popular culture at the time or in recent history in a way that was relevant to the episode. Now it's just exactly like the Wicked thing. Oh, you guys know Wicked. Here you go.
Yeah.
For no reason, whereas there could be potentially some clever ways for them to even do their own Wicked story.
Yeah.
You know, the whole idea of Wicked is that it's the alternate viewpoint of what actually happened with the witches. That could be Patty and Selma.
Yeah, sure.
But they haven't done that. Are you listening, Simpsons writers? Literally
Take
just had
down notes.
For the last 20 years, I've just had a better idea than you, and I'm a nobody.
Well, well, I mean, they've kind of done a kind of a Cinderella-esque kind of thing with Marge and Patty and Selma though before.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah, but Cinderella and Wicked are different stories.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, I feel like the two evil sisters are kind of more of a trope in that regard.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if
Yeah,
they
I
want to
get
do
what
a
you mean.
reference,
Yes.
Yeah.
then they could reference Wicked by doing the Wicked type story for Patty and Selma.
And rip off the same story beats and
Exactly, yeah. And then that would be referencing pop culture at the time to reflect the time instead of just going, here you go, you chumps like this.
Yeah.
Eat this shit up, you dicks.
Yeah.
Oh, it makes me so mad.
Yeah, like a couple little things, and they're just like little things, but because I'm picking up on little things now instead of trying to just enjoy again in inverted commas the episode. Like, why the thing where Tony's flashing back about why he wants Homer to burn down Moe's. He's like, I didn't want to be yelled at by, like, an angry whatever. He's like, I was trying to call my friend Yuri Nader. But then you look at his phone and he's got a picture of Moe. So it's like he knows he's dialing Moe, but he thinks he's dialing Yuri, and it's like it's his phone.
No, because he's expecting Yuri Nader to be at
the
Moe's.
bar.
Oh, was he? Okay, anyway.
Yeah. I thought that was also a nice bit, but I thought that was not done snappily enough.
No.
It was a throwaway joke, so I've got to give them that at least. But the ice cream melting in the cup holder and like comic book guy coming in and kind of going no, like they're trying to break into the car to save it.
That bothered me because when you punch your arm through glass, your arm doesn't get stuck in a hole of glass.
No,
Exactly.
The glass
you would
shatters,
like
and I was
rip your
bothered by
skin to
that.
shreds if that happened. Yeah.
And it wasn't like a good joke. It's just saying, comic book guy loves food, and
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which is
That guy loves food.
Yeah, shock
And we
horror.
just make fun of him.
Well, yeah, even in Bart Sells His Soul, that my breakfast burrito is congealing rapidly, so I
Yeah.
must be blunt. Like, that is a great fat dude food joke.
Yeah.
And it's not,
without being insulting.
Yes, yes.
Hey, I got a question. Why, since from all the kind of episodes we've seen past essentially season 12, why is Lisa a jerk all of a sudden? At the start when she's like squirting him with fizzy apple juice and stuff.
I actually liked that bit where he goes, I got pigs in a blanket, and she goes, I got Dad's underpants, and he goes, I got Selma's leg. I actually liked that bit. I thought that was classic Bart and Lisa fighting.
Yeah.
Like,
I just feel like that she is, like, she just escalated the whole thing real quickly, and it wasn't like she's usually the put upon one, and I guess it's character development, whatever, and maybe later see everything, but it just felt kind of wrong. Like she was just being malicious straight away.
You do give her a good point. She started it. She really started. Yeah.
And actually, you bring up a good point. Was yes, it is classic Bart and Lisa fighting. The props are totally not.
Yeah.
Like they would never just lift up Selma's leg. They may hold up her bra.
Yeah.
Like it would be something like that. I don't know. It's just become too blatant. You know?
Oh yeah, the subtlety has gone out the window.
Oh, totally, absolutely.
All right. Do you guys think you'll watch this one again?
No.
If I wanted to hear John Hamm's voice again, I would just have that loop of him from Mad Men saying, "I love puppies," just over and over again. So no, I don't need to rewatch this episode again.
Oh well.
Or to take a line from a previous episode, no.
I might. I don't know. I'm still in two minds, and we'll get back to that with the ranking. What do you think about the wackiness of this episode? Start with you, Shayna.
The fine was quite wacky. Yes, okay, and it was just like went for fucking ever.
Yeah.
I get it. The fines are outrageous. I get it. They now fine you for stupid shit. We get the joke. That was just a little over the top for me. In terms of the actual storyline for The Simpsons, for the main storyline, it's only one storyline, but it wasn't overly wacky because it was saying things like this have been done before. But I mean, Homer even going to jail for the fines, like all of that whole first, like you say, in the first act is terrible, and after that it gets a bit better.
Yeah. But yeah, it's still like, it's not a completely out there story, and nothing is like out there too much in its execution, besides the Wicked thing and the fines. And
the Wicked, I keep forgetting about that. Oh my god. Oh, and I love Wicked.
But yeah, even like them making Homer with like, I like how like it turned out that Homer like went to go burn down Moe's, and then really reluctantly, and then Moe was already blowing it up. Like that seemed very Moe, very on point.
Yes, it was so much like Moe. Exactly.
Did he say it was either that or put in a women's bathroom?
Yeah, that was.
But he's already got a women's bathroom that he uses as an office.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway.
Oh my gosh, this is so non-canon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you notice he had a wedding dress stuck in his quiet place?
Yes.
Behind the door? What was that about? And it seemed like the same wedding dress that the woman comes up.
I noticed that as well, yes.
It seemed the exact same, so I'm not sure if that was like a thing. Or they just reused the frame or what?
Well, I actually, at first I had thought that Moe had sent her to get the money for the bribe.
Yeah.
So that Homer's money was safe. And then I thought again, because I did notice the costume as well, that he just did it to take Homer's money.
Oh.
So he had this bridal costume, sent someone. There was actually no one ever there to get a bribe.
Yeah, maybe.
This is kind of his way to just cheat some money out of Homer.
Wow, there might be some depth in this episode after all.
Maybe.
The other wacky part, which again was like shit, like dad joke-esque, was the Judge, can I have a sidebar? And then he like just pulls the bar off the thing and like tries to whack Bart with it, like a Tom and Jerry episode. And it just fell flat for me.
Nah, choking Bart gags are like, even like some of the older episodes, it's like sometimes they don't work. And yeah, this is especially just an example of one where it's like, okay, he's just being abusive at this stage.
Yes, because choking Bart, I remember when we saw it as kids, we never saw it as abusive. It was funny because
Yeah.
sometimes the gag works, you know. And in this instance, it was really like, no, I just want to beat the shit out of my son.
Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't work.
So segueing from that, the heart. Look, I do like how Homer like actually became attached to Fat Tony. I thought that actually gave it some stakes, but
I just don't know if I believed it. Like, I don't know. Maybe there was it didn't really show any time lapse or anything like that.
no,
but
well, it all does happen very quickly.
Yeah.
It's like if that first act was like a lot snappier and quicker, and they didn't spend so long lingering on the fines and the wicked that they could get to Fat Tony sooner and build up their relationship a bit better, maybe it would have had a bit more weight to it.
I also feel like for Fat Tony to get to a place where he is essentially controlling everything, he wouldn't be so stupid as to basically do what Homer said and is like, I just got into your gang and you didn't even know anything about me. Like, kind of was like, and again, I get it was played for gags, similar to some of the other stuff, but it just kind of went, well,
you're pointing out exactly what's wrong with this story.
Anyway, which I guess is fine. Something about a lack of heart, not necessarily wackiness, but I would say the opposite of heart was the family seemed completely fine with him being in jail.
Yeah.
They were just, pray for our, Homer in the Hooskow, and like, let's throw in some, cool lingo. But they were just like, fine. They were just like, no one was upset.
Yeah. Bart was like, I hope he gets lots of shivs and cigarettes. Like,
fish, dried fish,
I
or whatever.
don't think that's the only reason why I don't think that's entirely terrible is things from like episodes where they're hugging the TV. Kids, you're hugging the TV, whatever. Or like, no, you love him more. No, you love him more. No, you love. So it's like, I think that they love him, but I also feel like maybe they wouldn't be entirely upset if they had a small break from Homer.
Yeah, maybe.
Sure, and also he's been in prison a bajillion times by this point.
Exactly. Yeah, they're used to it by now, I'm sure.
But no, it is a little disconcerting because like there was another episode that we did recently that where Marge goes to prison and the family are like smiling as Homer's explaining it to him. Like it's really weird.
That was the thing. They were like holding hands, but they were all grinning, and that's what I was like. I don't understand. Anyway.
So did it feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
It felt like those parody episodes that they do, but it felt like a bad one.
Sure. Yeah.
So kind of, but it just didn't.
But yeah, so like I'd like
land.
to sort of explore integrity with this question, and I guess it wasn't really shitting on the show.
No.
Most of the characters were themselves, and
this is, I think, a prime example of zombie Simpsons.
Yeah.
It looks like The Simpsons. It sounds like The Simpsons. It watches like The Simpsons, but it's missing the soul and the heart of what The Simpsons really is. So for someone who's not a real watcher, or does not particularly hold the first decade close, this could potentially be an episode of The Simpsons for them. They would notice the difference.
I guess the thing is, like, compare it to the first episode we watched, where, like I said, every line is got a funny joke in it, and it's quotable endlessly, and this just isn't like that. It just
the
is
one
not the
quote
same.
from it that's quotable does not even belong to The Simpsons, which is, "Hey, forget about it."
Yeah.
So it's using somebody else's quote.
And just on that, any other quotable moments off the top of your head?
I got a couple more ones that annoy me. If you will,
go for it.
If you
man.
will
Please,
indulge me. Like one, of course, they're gonna make we're subversive. We're gonna make a Fox News joke at the start of the episode, like before the. Is that part of the credits, or was that just for that episode? The one where the Fox helicopter goes past and it says, "Fox wishes you Merry Christmas, but no other holidays." It's like, see.
And the couch gag, the advent calendar, like they went through and did 25 different Christmas visuals.
Oh my god!
Oh
the
wait,
whole
there was
thing.
one visual that I did laugh at, but it obviously has not stuck. It's not that funny. I can't remember what it was.
On Mitt Smithers, maybe.
No.
There was something about
remember.
like Hans Moleman getting a tattoo or something, and then there was
getting stitched up. Happy holidays,
and there was like
Otto flying the bus.
Ralph or Nelson doing something, and
Oh, that was the other thing. that was what reminded me when I said that they just pick on people now.
Yeah.
It's just like, Nelson's poor.
Yeah.
Whereas like before they would point it out. We knew that Nelson was poor and disadvantaged, whatever, but it wasn't to laugh at him. It was part of his character, and any reference they had to his, social standing or economic standing was always done with dignity and class and whatever. And this is just like, oh look, he's so poor, all he has is a twig.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys,
they're not trying hard enough.
They are not trying at all.
Yeah. Well, another kind of thing that again was like annoyed me was Marge was trying to figure out where Homer was and was asking Wiggum where he was, and like, I can't tell you anything, but then she sends him a text saying like, where are you? And that makes Homer cry, so Fat Tony trusts him and stuff. But it's like, why would she think to send him a text in the first place if she thinks he's in prison? It's like, you think you have a phone in prison?
If she has his number, why didn't
I
she
know,
just
but
call
why
him
would
to
she?
find out?
Why would she think
The
to
whole
even
thing is
text him
stupid.
if he's supposed to be in prison or whatever? Anyway,
But yeah, and he
Fine.
was undercover, so he shouldn't have had his phone.
No.
Yeah,
God,
it
no.
didn't make any sense at all.
especially if he's got read receipts on, he's really screwed
Yeah.
as well. It's a little thing, but when they cuffed him and put him in the car, like after the thing, and I was like, cops wouldn't cuff you like that. They cuff you hands behind your back because they've got those like things built into the seat so your arms can rest behind, and they cuffed his hands in front of him and just put him in the car. I'm like, that's really dangerous. They would never do that. Come on, Simpsons. So anyway, a couple of funny things that I do remember were the toast at the end, to heterossexual male friendship, and it was like,
Oh, yeah. The kind the Greeks
fun.
wrote about.
Yeah.
yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. That's the best part. Like Santa's little helper, fucking Snowball.
Yeah.
3,
Yeah.
4, maybe. I don't know.
5.
Probably, yeah. No. But I think the maybe the funniest part of the episode was the like $50. That used to get you 2 public nudities and a poop in the park.
Yeah. No, I
That's
enjoyed
something
that.
Homer would probably would know about for sure.
So let's rank this thing. I'll kick it off. I'm going to give it a participant. Again, much like Bart sells his soul, I was like, I wanted to give it a different rank, but like nothing was pulling me into like wanting to watch this episode again.
Yeah.
Like ultimately, I could leave it behind. So yeah, I'm going to give it a participant. How about you, Shayna?
Yeah, I was thinking about giving it a failure.
Yeah.
I really was. But the last episode was so terrible.
Yeah.
That this one, it feels wrong to put this episode in the same league as what I put that other one in. So I'm giving this a participant only because it's not as bad as the other.
Well, I think you said it best before, is that that one, like the last one, offended you, whereas this one sort of more felt you flat and made you feel flat. And I think that's what a participant ranking is. It doesn't give you the highs or lows. It just sort of existed.
It's
The
the
devastating
MTV
highs.
generation.
Yeah. Oh, I should rename participant meh.
Yeah.
How about you, George?
Yeah, look, the same. Look, I didn't hate it. I didn't actively. I really wanted to, I guess, dislike it. But after last episode, the previous podcast where we were talking about Chief of Hearts, I kind of want to give season 20 plus a go.
Yeah.
But it was just a kind of a nothing episode. I will probably forget most of it by tomorrow. So again, yeah, a participant, but I didn't actively hate it, so it didn't earn a failure for me.
Well, there we go, and that one was a participant. And wow, 3 rounds of completely unanimous rankings.
Exactly.
We are on the same page tonight.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, that has been the Simpsons Index episode 10.
I just have one more
yeah,
note.
go for it.
If any of our listeners know John Hamm, and he may be interested in a Lebanese, Jewish, totally not at all married lady with really big ass,
Please get in contact with Elliot.
please. He'll give you my details. Thank you.
And John Hamm, I'd love to have you on the podcast sometime.
With me, please have me in that episode, please.
Poor Jordan just locked in his bedroom that whole night.
That's all right. I
He
know what I'll
totally
be doing.
knows. He's my number one free pass.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much, Elliot, for having
No,
us
thank
again.
you guys for tonight. It was an excellent round, and hopefully next time we can do better episodes for the back two. But yeah, what a first episode to kick it off with.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Jordan.
So good. Yeah, that has been episode 10. Say your names again for the people at home.
Shayna.
And Jordan.
And I am your host, Elliot J. O'Neill. Thank you for tuning in, and I'm never tapping out.
Love it.
Thank you for checking out the Simpsons Index podcast. Don't forget to go to www.thesimpsonsindex.com for the spreadsheet and information about upcoming episodes.
Yeah. No. It's just like, it isn't funny anymore. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Oh!